here's what happened. I'm up there and I'm on the side of a mountain, and I'm talking about the North American Rocky Mountains. Now I come across a campsite. I think to myself, this could be a good place to shoot a film. And I look down into the fire pit and there is an unburnt piece of wood. I think to myself, now this is strange because usually everything that's in a fire pit are burnt pieces of wood. Well, I pull it out and I notice in ballpoint pen someone wrote, "We got rained out. Hope you have better luck." About 10 minutes later, I'm scrambling back to the Honda Element because it's a monsoon downpour. Now don't get me wrong, the entire western United States really needs the rain, so I'm happy to see it. But I did not anticipate how big of a factor the rain would be in being able to have successful shoot days. Which, let's back up just a little bit. I am actually shooting the film, which might seem a little crazy that I'm surprised about that, but let's back up a little more. It wasn't until the end of May that I actually had a completed script. I mean, I definitely underestimated how long it would take to write a 90-page screenplay. And it is 90 pages, by the way, by one line. I made 90 pages. Once the script was completed, I went into pre-production, and pre-production has been insane, like all of this is. To be honest with you, I could do a recap every single week and I'd never be able to capture all of the insanity that is making up the day-to-day to be able to one-man band produce this. And yeah, I am surprised we're actually shooting the film to be doing a recap. Oh, so let's go back a little further. It's not actually the end of July anymore. It's actually the third week in August. So let me explain. These are the camping scenes. These, without any question, is the absolute most difficult part of the script. To me, everything hinges on being able to capture these pages. So it was important for me to shoot these right away, because if I wasn't going to be successful at capturing this, then there is no point in moving on to the more mundane parts of the script that I knew I could capture. But we couldn't shoot these pages right out of the gate simply because they're so difficult. So we needed to shoot a warm-up scene. So here's the deal. We shot scene number 14. Now this is a scene between Wolf and Asa, or Alex and Derek. And I shot that scene. That was the very first scene that we shot, and it went phenomenal. After we shot that scene, I then had a shoot with Jennifer and Wolf. That shoot went really great. So the last 2 weekends in July, we shot the warm-up scenes, and then I had the most difficult scenes in the entire film, or I should say difficult days in the entire film, the next 2 weekends, the first weekend, second weekend in August. And yeah, I was concerned, so concerned and so overwhelmed that I was like, there ain't no way I'm doing a recap video until I get through these weekends and I know they're a success. I ended up securing a campsite in the mountains the first weekend of August. So the campsite that I got, I turned it into our set, right? So we had our prop tent, and this teepee looking tent also doubled as our production tent. So it was a place that I could put all of our production equipment. Then this site had a little trail up to another campsite, and up at that campsite is what we called base camp. Base camp is essentially where we could put all of our stuff, prepare our food, have our coolers, and Brittany was on a walkie-talkie, so I could radio up to her to bring anything down to the set if we needed it. As much as I wanted to make this as comfortable as possible for my actors, we ended up camping at base camp. So this is Jennifer up front. Wolf stayed in that yellow tent, and then Brittany and I stayed in that tan and orange one. We pulled up another tent for Asa to stay in this little tent village. And that was our shelter, which gets me back to the rain. The rain really was an issue. When the rain comes, it can come fast and really intensely. And so we had to be able to get everything in out of the rain and be able to just hunker down till the rain passed. Then we could come back out and shoot and hope that the area wasn't so soaked with rain that it would be miserable to shoot in. Now, that also brought out the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes were wildly intense. So much so, the first weekend, we had a little bottle of off spray. We just blew right through that off spray. So the second weekend, we have Mountain Man, and that gets me to this little outfit. This is Mountain Man's wardrobe. I had an actor from Chicago that I've been friends with for years, and I look up to this guy, and I so badly wanted to shoot with him. I was gonna have him fly out to Denver. I was gonna pick him up. We were gonna go into the mountains. The other actors were gonna get there, and we were gonna shoot this scene. Here's a map of Colorado. We have Denver, we have the international airport, we have the Boulder Bubble, and then we have the rest of Colorado. Now, here's what was gonna happen. Thursday night after work, I was gonna drive into the mountains and stay the night in the element. Friday morning, I would secure a campsite, I would go into town, get all of the amenities to get us through until Sunday. Then, Saturday morning, I would drive out of the mountains, back to D-Town. Now here is a map of the United States of America. Here's Chi-Town, here's D-Town. My buddy was gonna get on a plane and fly way out here to D-Town, where I would pick him up at the airport. Then everyone, including the actors and Brittany, would make our way back up into the mountains, and hopefully we can get everything we needed that Saturday, because everyone has to go back to work Monday morning, which means we have to get back out of the mountains, back into D-Town. I have to get him back to DIA. He would fly back to Chi-Town. I would go back through Denver, back into the mountains, breaking everything down, back to D-Town, completely bypassing the Boulder Bubble at every turn, and be ready for work Monday morning. Now this, in the filmmaking world, is what we call crazy. It was never going to happen, and the toughest conversation I've had to have in this entire project was calling up my buddy and being like, I don't think I could do this. It was super difficult, but it had to be the case. The flip side is that I ended up casting an actor right here from D-Town. So I ended up narrowing my focus on Josh Nichols. Now, Josh has a long history with improv, especially in LA. He's been the director of improv festivals, he's an improv teacher, and he's currently the artistic director and co-owner of Rise Comedy here in Denver, formerly known as Voodoo Comedy. And Josh has a film degree. So I met with him once, we talked about the script and did a little read through. Then I met with him a second time. I handed him this wardrobe, bing bong bang, we got Mountain Man. And he did a fantastic job on set. Despite all of the difficult parts of shooting up in the mountains, it was also super beautiful. That Saturday night, we actually shot a scene around a propane fire pit, and the scene was like the actors talking about life, you know, philosophy and like the meaning of life. We actually then migrated to base camp and set up an actual fire and actually sat around the fire pit talking about life, and it was beautiful. Despite the challenges, it was actually kind of magical the whole weekend. Okay, so can you guess where the mic is this time around? It clearly is not in my hat or in my clothes anywhere. It's a boom mic. That's right, we got a boom mic right up here. Now I will say I haven't been using a boom mic very much for the project at all. It's mostly just been lavs. I hope that's a good thing. So this has been the recap for July, even though it's the third week in August. From here on out, I hope it's gonna get easier and easier. Let's see, it's been 7 months and we have 5 months to go.